Hello, continuing with my topic on how to change your life effortlessly. And today, relationships. Do you need good relationships? And I will give you 3 basic tools for good relationships. Who am Di? I am Di from Di's Affiliate Hub, trying to put together a good life manual, something that I think everybody should have and use to just equip themselves with some basic tools to create the life you want. And we're not taught these things throughout the life, but I think we should learn them because there is a certain set of rules that we need to observe to create the life we want, and in a way that we need to do it. So with these videos, I'm trying to compile a series of how to do it, and hopefully you will find it useful. So back to today's topic, good relationships. 3 basic tools for good relationships. What are they? Number 1, match the priorities. Number 2, put the other person first. Number 3, ask instead of assume. And, I'm going to go now one by one and sort of elaborate a little bit on each of them, but I'm sure you already get a picture of what this is all about. And, throughout our lives, we struggle so much with relationships. And yet, by definition, we are social beings, so we really cannot exist without interaction with other people. We probably could if we were on some, remote island, but even then we would interact with other live beings, not necessarily people. We know how important the relationships with animals are, even with plants and other living beings. So we cannot underestimate the importance of good relationships. So when I say as a rule number 1, match the priorities, what do I mean by this? You need to ask yourself a question. What needs does a relationship need to fulfill? What are the needs that I want to be fulfilled with this relationship? And what are the 2 most important needs that I want fulfilled in this particular relationship? And you see, this is where we so often go wrong, because a relationship, obviously, I'm going to talk about a relationship with 2 people, it could be more, but the basic relationship is a person and a person. And they go into a relationship because they are maybe physically attracted, because they sort of so-called fall in love or whatever that means, on the basis of some sort of a feeling. And we all know that feelings sort of fluctuate. And what everybody has in head for that relationship, what they think about, what they need this relationship for, what they're going into this relationship for, could be so totally different that can never ever be matched, regardless of the amount of attraction that we feel for each other. That's why a lot of relationships are just doomed to fail, and people struggle and struggle and struggle. But if they were to sort of ask themselves about the priorities and see whether these priorities match at the start of the relationship, they would actually save themselves from a lot of hardship, a lot of wasted years and struggles. So ask yourself a question. What do you want this relationship for? Is it because I want to be loved? I want love. Is it that I want to be cared for? I want to be paid attention to. I want to be number 1 in somebody else's life. Is it that I want some sort of a financial security? Is it that I want security in a way of a family environment? I want to create a family, so I want to create the environment with my partner when I can support this family. Or I want somebody that I have good time with. I want somebody that I have good sex with, and I don't care whether it lasts, a few months or a few years or a lifetime. You see, these are all sort of priorities that people have, and they just often do not ask themselves, starting a relationship, a basic question: what is my priority? Do our priorities match? What do I want from this relationship? So this is number 1 thing we need to do. We need to state our priorities, and I think the 2 basic ones would be more than enough. If we can fulfill each other priorities in 2 basic things, whether that is love, care, attention, financial security, some sort of raising a family, good time, good sex, having somebody to talk to on a regular basis, whatever that is, right down to basic ones, and see whether they match with the other person's. And if it's a good match, you are off to a flying start, and you have a lot of chance, a very high possibility that this relationship will be a very good one, a very fulfilling one. And if not, don't waste your time. You know what I mean? Think about it and act. Then I'm going now to number 2. Of course, when you're in a relationship, you need to put the other person first. This is the second basic rule, which you always need to have at the back of your head and always think about and always act upon. And now I'm coming to rule number 3, which is very much connected with the rule number 2, which is ask. Don't assume. If you put the other person first, you cannot possibly know what is going on in that other person's head. You know what they tell you, and there is a lot that they might not tell you, and there is a lot that might not talk about, and there's a lot of things that you might miss, and you do miss. And then there is a lot of things that we always just assume. We assume that that person did that because of some reason, and then we feel bad about it, and then we act out because of it, and we are probably very often totally wrong. So we always need to ask a question. Ask the question with care. Ask the question because you are putting the other person first. A lot of relationships fail because people always think just about ourselves. We think about ourselves all the time. Why is this not good for me? Why am I not happy? Why am I not getting what I want? Why is this person not giving me what I want? Why is this person acting in a way that it's annoying me? And so on and so on and so on. And we sort of close ourselves in this sort of a cycle of, irritation, frustration, always thinking just about ourselves, me. Step out of it. Put the other person first. And always ask. Don't assume, because when you're assuming, you're mostly wrong. And then you build everything on that wrong thing that you assume. And everything goes in a way that it shouldn't go. Out of shape, totally. Disaster sometimes. You know what I mean? So please do think about this and act on it. This is why I say 3 basic tools, because they are not just rules that are written somewhere. There is something that you need to understand in here, and you need to act on. That's why they are tools that need to be used every day, day by day by day. And that way the relationships you create will be good ones, regardless of the nature of them. Not every relationship needs to be for life. Not every relationship is sort of needs to be in a certain way. We have different relationships in life with different people. So really think about this and always observe these 3 basic rules. And even if you are already in a relationship that you're maybe not happy with, and you don't know whether to stay in it or whether to leave and look for another relationship, think about these 3 basic tools and do the priorities. See if the priorities match. Put the other person first. Ask, don't assume. And if you do all this and you see that there is a mismatch, and then you see that, there's that you two as the people are just too different, and your needs that have to be fulfilled in this relationship are just too different, and you cannot possibly fulfill each other's needs, then you know that it's time to get out of the relationship, regardless of maybe the sort of a physical attraction that you feel for that person, regardless of maybe even the way that you love or like that person, and you might go on doing that for the rest of your life. But it is not the relationship that can work. It is not a relationship that will bring you what you want out of it, which is some sort of enjoyment, pleasure, fulfillment, good-feel relationship, something that you will grow in, So this is all from me for today, guys. And do put a lot of emphasis onto relationships, because they are really very important in your life. And you cannot go wrong by doing that. And do please observe my 3 tools and use them. And I'm going to talk a little bit more in detail about relationships and how to create good relationships for ourselves and what are the habits of good relationships in my next video. Till then, All the best. Take care.